recording. So thank you guys for joining us. We are going over lead generation like a pro. Robin and Jack, do you want to give us a little intro about yourself?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So Jack and I are on the same team. We have a team called the Premier Home Group that we started about a year ago with Keller Williams. We're both relatively new agents in the grand scheme of things. We've been in it about 2.5 years. We were on a team together, another team, and we decided to start our own team. We have a team now of about 6 or 7 agents. We'll do about 45 deals this year, and just growing and learning. And lead generation is kind of how we built our business. So that's kind of our story. And actually, our team started with me and Jack just calling in a basement. So yeah, that's us. So we're based out of Delaware County, and yeah, that's kind of our story.
Jack, anything you want to add or share about your experience?
I actually started out at Coldwell Banker. Yeah, again, 2.5 years ago, we were there at the first training session together, and that's kind of how we started out. I really had no past experience at all. I actually took my real estate class in high school and kind of came in like right away, just that summer. So it's kind of how we got our start, and been cold calling. I mean, I guess when I first got in, I didn't make any calls for like the first 3 or 4 months, but then for the next like 1.5 years, that's about all I did. So that's how we started, and now we're rocking and rolling.
So I think the main question is, right, a lot of us get started and probably never had to lead generate if we worked a 9 to 5 kind of job, right? So what is lead generation?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So what is lead gen? That's a good way to start, right? Lead gen itself is just the process of acquiring clients, right? I think when we all started, there's a lot of kind of, all right, I'm an agent, I'm excited, I want to do this thing. Where are all the people to help, right? How do I find people to serve? And so really kind of lead gen is just the process of finding people to serve. And that's kind of what we started with. So there's all kinds of different lead gen. You can do expireds, you can do circle prospecting, you can do door knocking, you can use your sphere, you can buy Facebook, can do Facebook leads. You can do a lot of that on command, which is really nice. So there's lots of different kinds of ways to acquire, and you can stand at a mall and hand out your card, right? I mean, that's lead gen too. So it's just the process of acquiring people to help.
Absolutely.
Great question.
We probably complicate it way more, right? We think it has to be this big, flashy, fancy, expensive thing, right? But it can be as simple as just having a conversation. Do your friends, do your family members, do your coworkers, do they know that you're involved in real estate, right?
Yep, for sure. And no, I think we do overcomplicate it. And it's just, the reality is at some point in time, you're going to have to start to reach out. The Red Book calls them, non-Mets, like people that we don't already know. And that's kind of more of what we spend a lot of time doing, but it's still, your sphere or, talking to someone at a coffee shop is still lead generation, and it requires a lot of the same skills. So that's a good way to start.
So you have this really awesome diagram that you had up that not everybody might know. Like, what does SOI mean, Robin?
Yeah, so that's your sphere of influence. Basically, everyone that you already know, people that already know, like, and trust you. So, it could be, it's your parents, it's your cousins, it's your family, it's your high school teachers, people that you're friends with. That's basically it. As we go through life, we acquire these people that we know from other jobs or whatever it may be. And so those are professional, personal, and family connections, basically.
And what about PPC?
Yeah, so PPC is pay-per-click leads. At some point in time, we started calling expireds because they're basically free, right? So your sphere is pretty much free. Expireds are free. Circle prospecting. These are some things that we'll teach you over this next couple of weeks, how to be able to get those lists of people and how to have those conversations. There's some that you can pay for as you kind of progress. PPC is one of them. Basically, it's a combination of Google words. So if someone was to type in house buying in Havertown, that's where I live. My name might come up, right? So I can pay for the rights to have my name come up if someone were to put in the right set of words. That's pay-per-click PPC advertising.
So probably a lot of you guys have been potential clients, right? Like you're Google searching something and you see an ad, right, for these really cool shoes, and you click on it, right? Somebody paid for that ad to acquire you as a potential customer, right? Is that kind of what it means, Robin?
Yep. Basically, it's whenever you do like a Google search, there's these ads at the top, right? So if I were to Google anything, right, like designer jeans, Philadelphia, right? Like there'll be like 3 or 4 ads at the top, and then below that'll be like the actual Google search where you can show up as one of those ads. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to let Robin and Jack kind of take it away because I know you guys have some great stuff. And then Robin, we are set up so we can do breakout rooms. So whenever you're ready for that, you let me know.
All right, great. Well, I guess we'll kind of start with the introduction. I just wanted to try and get to know all the people that are in the class as well. So if you just wouldn't mind kind of introducing everybody, introduce yourself, just kind of come off of mute and, let me know who you are and how long you've been in the business and something interesting about yourself. That'd be great. We'll keep it really short, but that way we can kind of get to know each other as we're going to work together over the next couple of months. So I guess I'll just call names. Maybe that's the easiest way. Otherwise, if I think people might be a little shy, I get it. So let's try. I know Crystal, so let's start with Crystal Torres.
She might be at her eye doctor appointment, so she might be listening in. So
no problem. How about Tania? Everybody's shy today. That's okay.
I could go, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm Zach Samuel. I'm very new to the business. I've been a real estate agent for about 4 months now. I joined the team, the Deidre Quinn team, which is great. I've been getting my leads through that, but also really keen on, just finding ways to increase my personal leads because I'm very new to Philadelphia. I moved to Philadelphia about a year ago, so I don't know too many people in the city. I have been, going out to different events, looking at doing things like joining an axe throwing league and I meet people at the gym, etc. So that's kind of where I'm increasing my sphere. But, lead generation tips and any way to get better is really important to me as I don't have a very large sphere in Philadelphia.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, it's a great way to start. I know Jack, when he came, he was, 18, right? So he knew a bunch of people, but they were all teenagers, right? That doesn't help. They're not buying houses. So I get that. That's really useful. And Anyone else like to speak up and introduce themselves?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going next. So hello, everybody. Well, good morning, afternoon, actually. My name is Shakai. I have been an agent since I passed my exam like the middle of September, so I'm still really, really new as well. And I'm basically here to also learn some tips because lead generation is very, very important in a business like this. And so I feel like, hopefully I'll be able to learn some new, methods or anything to grow my sphere.
Awesome. Glad to have you.
I can say hi. Hi, my name's Melanie Machuca. I got my real estate license over the summer. I am 19, so I'm a college student. So like, as you said, I'm like surrounded by teenagers. So I want to just grow everyone that I know in my network.
Man,
Awesome.
Robin, can you imagine if we started when we're 19? I am so jealous of all of you that decided to take this, journey early, because man, I can't wait to see how much farther along you're going to be when you're my age in your 30s, man. You're going to be like kicking butt.
Agreed. I'm always really jealous. Like Jack will have 5 years experience and be 25. I mean, he's going to take over the world. No, very, very cool. So awesome. Melanie, nice to have you.
Hi, so I'm just going to pop in. My camera's not on. Let me turn it on. I was on Peloton in the basement working out and look a little rough here, guys. So I would be the female Robin to this Zoom call here. So I got my license way back when, probably 2006, and right before the real estate bubble. So I was privy to be a part of that, which wasn't fun. So I kind of escorted my license, took off on college MBA, corporate America, and now we're back in a crisis, which is a pandemic, which brought me back to real estate. So it is full circle. It's been almost a year. Excited to see what's next and what's on the horizon, and looking forward to growing my business in real estate.
Awesome, Robin. Always good to see another Robin with an I too. We're the rare ones, so good to have you.
Who else wants to share and say hi?
Hey, I can go next. Hi, I'm Devin Hawthorne. I am on the Deirdre Quinn team with Zach, and I'm going on year 4 of real estate. A lot of my leads are generated through the team. So I'm here today to hope to expand, my personal sphere and, getting ready to bring it all in myself.
And Devin is licensed in New Jersey too. So if anyone has referrals.
That's me. I'm the New Jersey girl.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the things that I have, Jack's on my team, and Jack's going to be a buyer agent here very shortly. And one of the things I think is important is that I want him to be able to fish on his own, right? To be able to get his own leads. And it's not that he's going to get plenty of team leads from us, but for me, it was really important that I don't want Jack to ever feel like he has to stay. I want him to feel like he wants to stay, right? So I want to give him the tools to be able to leave if he needs to. And that's kind of gives you some versatility, right? So you're not dependent on any one lead source. And that's what we try to do as a real estate team. We want to diversify our lead sources so that if one thing falls through, we can switch our attention to something else. So I think you're doing the right thing. That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, we'll get to know each other more as we go along. I won't pull it out of you guys today.
One more that wants to share. Go on, Ashley.
All right.
I'm Ashley. I've had my license for about 2 years, but I was teaching full time when I had originally got it. So I wasn't really pursuing it full time, obviously. I joined Keller Williams in April and I stopped teaching in September. So now I'm in it full time. Kind of took like the last month off because I got married. So it's been a little bit of a break. But now I'm like trying to like really like go in hard. So here I am. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. And it's great when you take the plunge, right, and do it full time. That's a tough
Yeah.
switch. So that's great. Awesome.
Thanks.
All right. So we'll continue to get to know each other as time goes on. But I just encourage people to not be shy. I think that when we learn anything, I'll tell a story. Well, it's probably not an appropriate story, but when I lived in Nicaragua for a while, I didn't speak Spanish. Okay, and so you can imagine, as I went about my life, I had a lot of mistakes, right? A lot of embarrassing mistakes, right, along the way, and there really there's no shortcut to being good at anything. You have to be bad at it first, right? And so you kind of that bravery to kind of just not be afraid to make mistakes or not be afraid to be embarrassed is going to be really important kind of as we go along and learning things about lead gen. But I think it's just important in life, right? You can't be good at something until you're bad at it first. So I encourage you guys to be as brave as you can be as we go along, okay? And I promise I'll point out all my mistakes first, because it's kind of on our team, we kind of celebrate our mistakes, because we just laugh at them and move on, right? All right, so this is our team. We actually have 2 other people currently on it right now that are actually virtual. So we have a virtual TC, and we also have a virtual ISA, which is an inside sales agent. But this is our team. This is young Jack. This is Jared, who's our full-time inside sales agent. So he actually is on the phone 8 hours a day, every single day. So if you're reluctant, just know that none of us started this way. We started calling an hour a day and built up to it. But this is our team, and hopefully throughout this entire process, you'll get a chance to meet all of them in some capacity. So this is us. It used to be Jack and I making calls from the basement. We were really, really bad at it. We were learning by mistakes. We were practicing on paychecks, as we like to say, which is the worst way to do it. But that was the beginning, right? And nowadays, everybody on our team, we average about 1,600 dials a week. Give you an idea of kind of going from 0 to that. And but it was growth, right? And it took time. So you already kind of started us off well, Dana, with what is lead generation. Does anybody have a thought of how often they think they should prospect? Prospecting is looking for clients, right?
Daily.
So daily, okay, it's a good answer. That's a great answer. Every day I see in the chat there, okay. Anyone else have any thoughts?
How many hours a day do you think? You have in the chat 2 hours. Any other guesses?
Okay. Yeah, I guess the answer that 2, I see. Okay. So we really believe that there's 2 things that we do. We service our clients and we look for clients. Those are the 2 things that we really do as realtors. right? And there's some education in there, right? And some bettering ourselves and some pieces of the puzzle. But for the most part, those are our two basic functions. We serve our clients, we look for clients. So we really believe that if you aren't serving clients, if you don't have any clients, which is how I started, right? In the first 6 months of being a real estate agent, I did one deal. And so when you don't have any clients, really the other half should fill up the rest of your time, right? So depends on how many clients you have. If you have no clients, theoretically, you should be lead genning the majority of your day, right? Now that can be different things. It could be liking posts on Facebook. It could be, different pieces of the puzzle that are also lead gen, but the reality is frequently, right? So we do 3 hours a day for all of our agents. So that's the mornings. So from 8:30 till 11:30, we prospect and we look for clients. Our inside sales agents do it 8 hours a day. So, and that's a lot. But you kind of build up to it. It's like lifting weights. You do it the first day, you're really sore, right? It hurts. But when you build up to it after a while, it's just like going to the gym, right? So you kind of build some calluses. But at first it's tough. It's nerve-wracking for us all. We're going to kind of go a little bit into call reluctance to kind of talk about kind of why is it hard, right? Why is calling hard? Can you in the chat box do me a favor? Will you guys kind of let me know if you think calling people is hard to talk about real estate. If you think that's hard, put it in, say yes in the chat box. If you think it's not hard, go ahead and type no into the chat box. Let's see what people say. See, yes, 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 because of the DNC list. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So the DNC, if people don't know, it's the do not call list. So people can register their phone number saying that they do not want people to call them. And you can get in trouble, you can get fined if you continue to call people and they're on the do not call list, especially if they ask you not to call them or to remove them from your phone list.
All right, so we have some yeses, some nos. I like that. Sorry, depends on who answers the phone. That's absolutely true, right? Great. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it can be unpleasant. That's well said, Zachary. That's well said. Yeah, it's not at the top of anybody's list, right? You wouldn't do it for funsies, that's for sure. I get that. So we talk about call reluctance, right? And that's something that we have to fight all the time, right? Call reluctance is something that we deal with all the time. And as an agent, I don't deal with it necessarily making cold calls. I don't like talking to difficult agents, right? Sometimes you have difficult agents you don't want to talk to, or you have bad news to give to a client, right? And you don't want to call them to tell them bad news, right? So we have call reluctance about everything. And that's just natural. And I'm going to embarrass Jack a little bit. Jack, you have an amazing call reluctance story. Can you give me tell about your call reluctance story?
Yeah. I mean, when I started, I couldn't call anyone, to be honest. It was like you had to jump around and hype yourself up just to call a single. Like this was when it was just expireds. Never really called anyone new before this experience. And to be honest, like even making a call, like a hair appointment call for like the salon, it was like scary to me. I don't know why, but that's just how it was right in high school. But after like just going through it, like when we were in the call in the basement when we first started, I would make like 5 calls an hour, and like maybe one person would pick up, but it just took a lot for me to get into it and like even want to like dial anybody. But yeah, once you get into it and really just every single day you kind of increase and keep calling more people, and now we can call for a couple hours straight, and it's just another thing.
I love that story because Jack for a long time was an inside sales agent. He called 8 hours a day. He did about 3,000 dials a week for months and months and months and months. But he didn't start that way, right? He started more like this picture here, right? So what can we do to overcome call reluctance, right? There's one thing is that you can get yourself in the right mindset. Some people listen to relaxing music. Some people listen. I like to get a little pumped up. We would move around. There's a saying, motion creates emotion. So you can do those kind of things. You can watch video clips of other people doing it. I think that kind of usually is helpful. So you can watch video clips of other people making calls. But so the most important thing that you can do, does anybody have any other things that they might do to get themselves ready to make some calls? Dana, what do you do when you have to make some calls you don't want to make?
So I have like a few people that like I know when I talk to them on the phone, they like pump me up, and I'll call and they know, like I'll be like, hey, I got to make my lead gen calls and I'm kind of feeling like womp today. It's raining outside. I need a little like pump up, and they'll be like, Dana, you're awesome. Like, you're going to kill it. Like, call them. These people need you. Like, give them a call. Like, they need your call right now. And I'll be like, awesome, thanks. And then that just kind of like makes me feel good and pumps me up. And then I'm definitely a music girl too. So like, I'll get a little Madonna going or some Tina Turner, like feeling good. I'll be like, all right, let's go. And I also do that if I have a call go bad. So if I have someone I call and they're like, sometimes people, you catch them at the wrong moment and they're like, no, I'm not interested. And they like hang up on you and you're like, oh. So then I'll be like, all right, I need another pump me up. So turn up that music again, or, hey, I just had like a frustrating call. Like, need to speak to someone that's going to pump me up. So.
Those are good methods. Actually, I'm gonna steal some of those. There's some people that I can call that get me pumped up too. But we use it. There's the SWs, right? Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting, right? And so you said it really well, right? Like, these people need you, and that's it's a mindset thing, because none of us want to be sleazy salesmen, right? We don't want to feel like a sleazy salesman. We don't want to feel that way. But the reality is, we think about it this way, like, your average agent is not very great in our industry, right? There's a lot of really bad agents out there, people giving really bad service. And, we're giving people something that they really need. So I think that's a great way to think about it, Dana. That's actually really good. So we also find that probably the most valuable piece of the puzzle is competence, right? Confidence comes from competence. So we do a lot of practicing before we go, right? And so we don't want to practice on paychecks. We want to practice with our friends, with our teammates, in calls like this. And so that's what we're really going to do. And Dana, I thank you for bringing me on, but that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to give you guys some competence so that you can have some confidence, right? We're going to kind of teach you some of the skills that you need to be able to be successful. And we're going to practice them here, and we're going to kind of set you guys up to be able to role play some situations. And we're going to listen to some calls. We're going to listen to me mess up on the phone. We're going to listen to Jack mess up on the phone, so you can laugh at us. You don't have to laugh at yourselves, right? But the whole thing is just, we're going to grow and learn together, so that when it's time for you to make calls on a paycheck, you're not practicing, right? You have some competence and some confidence. So that's really where that comes from. It's how we can make calls the ways that we do, the 1,600 calls a week on average with our team. It just comes from confidence. And we've had some doozies, things people have said to us. If you ever want to know, we have some. We hold them deep in our hearts, like the really good ones, right? Like, so, but if you can find someone to call and laugh about it with, I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. It's never personal. They don't know you, right? Unless it's your cousin telling you to go jump in the lake, then that hurts, right? But other than that, it's a stranger, so they don't know you, so it can't be personal, right? All right.
Robin, are you lead genning on the weekends too, or are realtors only lead genning Monday to Friday?
Well, that's a good question. So we are pretty busy on the weekends. So we're showing a lot of houses on the weekends. So we don't have a ton of time to lead gen, but when we do have time, we do, right? So just if you think of this as a shift, it starts at X time and it ends at Y time. And if you have clients to serve the entire time, then great, then serve your clients. If you have only enough clients to serve half that, then look for clients with the other half. So I would say Jack and I probably lead gen every weekend and at some point in time, but it's not really scheduled. It's just, oh man, my last showing was at 3 and it's Saturday afternoon and I could go I could go to, do whatever, but my shift goes until 8, right? That's kind of how I think about it on Saturdays. So if I have time, we'll lead gen. And honestly, it's the best time to lead gen. Like the weekends is when everybody's available. Like the weekdays are hard. The weekends are available. What do you think, Jack? What do you think about lead genning on the weekends?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in ISA, we started like at 10:30 on the weekends. Like on Saturday it was like 10:30, and then on Sunday we started at like 11. And then we would call like just about all throughout the day. And honestly, it's like in my head, I think it's all right to call on Saturday till like 7:30, and then on Sunday I tend to stop at like 6:30. That's just kind of how I feel. But yeah, you definitely get better answer rates on the weekends. And really, I mean, again, whenever you have time, we would think that if you don't have an appointment, well, you should be lead genning for an appointment. And that's kind of how we think of it. So, and yeah, for sure, like on the weekdays, it's like the mornings and the evenings, but on the weekend is the best pickup rates. But on the weekends, it's all throughout the day, and there's not a particular time that's best because everyone's home.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that insight, because I think it can be hard because as realtors, we don't have set schedules. You have to make your own schedule. You have to make your time block for your lead generation.
Yeah, and something to point out too, when I was in ISA is like we didn't take off days on the weekends. I took them sometime during the week because the weekends were just so much better for calls that it was worth it to switch days.
Yeah, but Dana, time blocking is the key. I think that's something that we're really trying to be really like, listen, I don't do showings in the mornings. I don't do closings in the mornings. Like we just lead gen in the morning. Because, that saying that, your email is someone else's to-do list, right? It's not your to-do list. So we want to make sure we put first things first. And for us, it starts with lead gen. Without that, we don't have any clients. So that's where it all begins. All right. So where can we, gain competence? And I kind of talked about it just a second ago. We get it from learning how to do it, right? And so there's when we first started, this is when we didn't know any better, right? So we got some pretty good coaching early on, but when we didn't know any better, we kind of subscribed to like some old school sales tactics, like in the ABCs. Has anybody heard of the ABCs of selling? Chime in if you've heard of the ABCs of selling.
Always be closing.
Always be closing. That's right. That's the old school selling mentality, and we really, that didn't really fit for us. We tried it on like your dad's suit. We tried it. We would get people kind of trapped into saying yes, right? We would, there's a lot of old school tactics about, using things called tie downs and making people say yes, and then just keep leading them on a trail of yeses until they have to say yes to what you say. We called it putting them in the blender, is what we used to call it. And it doesn't create the kind of relationships that we wanted, right? We really wanted to serve people. We really wanted to have, intimate, in-depth, relationships with our clients. And so we replaced the always be closing with always being compassionate and collaborative and caring, right? And I know that sounds a little bit like a Hallmark card, but I'm going to explain to you kind of how that actually works, right? How we're able to turn that into ways to handle objections, how we're able to lead kind of people into choosing to work with us, like through being compassionate, collaborative, and caring. But basically, almost everyone is on a home buying journey, right? Like, if you don't want to own a house, I mean, it's rare to not want to own a house, at least at some point in your life, right? Some people just want to rent, I guess. I own a house now, and I kind of wish I was renting, so I get that. But I think everybody, for the most part, is on a home buying journey. And so we just meet them wherever they are, and we understand their situation. We see the world the way that they see the world. We try and figure out what their plan is, and then we offer them a better solution. Does that make sense? And so it doesn't matter what is your sphere, same thing. Cousin Jane, Cousin Jane thinks that the housing market, the prices are too high. Got it. Yeah, I don't blame you, Cousin Jane. The prices are really high, right? Now we're on the same side of the table. We're not arguing, right? Well, then what's your plan? Oh, I'm going to wait until the prices crash. Oh, so you think the prices are going to crash? Okay, great. Have you had a chance to look into like what the APR is right now, right? And so you can kind of find out like how to help them in a way that they're not already being helped. So you understand that Cousin Jane thinks the prices are too high. Her plan is to wait until the prices drop. And then your alternative solution is, hey, let me show you what your monthly payment will be with a 2.75 APR versus a 4.3 APR, right? APR like that. And so now you're giving Cousin Jane another alternative solution to her problem. And now you have a chance to serve her. But if you don't understand Cousin Jane, the way she looks at the world and what her plan is, you can't give her a solution. You're just throwing darts in the air if you don't know what her thought process is. Does that make sense? Okay. So,
and a lot of times, right, people are just going off of what they hear. They don't really understand the market either, but they don't want to look stupid and say, I don't know, right?
For sure. We've heard some crazy stuff. I'm trying to think of like, I don't want to move in the winter. I don't want to sell my house in the winter because cold weather drives away buyers, right? Like that's a common one that you hear. Or Jack, what's an interesting rebuttal that like made no sense to you when you heard it? Do you have an example in your mind?
I mean, I always heard about like when gas prices were going up. Gas prices are going up. I mean, everything's going up. It's looking terrible. And then, with the new election and like there were just a bunch of crazy things going on, especially with COVID. Some of them were understandable, but like people would just throw at anything. And then you gotta understand like where is that coming from? Why are you saying that? But if you already understand their goals and like know what they want to do and like this is blocking them, that you can overcome that together to be able to come to that solution that they're looking for.
I had one, Robin, someone told me they didn't want a house with a red front door. And I was like, why is that? And they were like, well, because houses with red front doors are more expensive. I go, really? where did you hear that or come up with that? And they go, well, every time I look and I see a house I like, it has a red front door, it's been renovated, it has a new kitchen, and it's way more expensive than the other houses on the market. And what was actually happening was it became a trend that a lot of flippers were painting the front doors red because I saw that that was like something that appealed to a lot of people. But this client had in her mind that any house with a red front door was going to be way more overpriced because it had been renovated. And so naturally it was going to be more expensive. And when I shared with her that that wasn't necessarily the case, she ended up buying a house with a red front door.
I love it. No, that's great. And Dana, you've like given me so many good segues. So the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go kind of into like a basic script, okay? And once we get through the basic script, it's just a matter of asking questions after that. So this is kind of a little bit different than some other, lead generation, objection handling, kind of script role play practice stuff that you may have heard before, because we don't really have set scripts. Now, other people do. I'm not saying it's wrong, but in general, we kind of start off basic and then we just start asking questions. So Dana, you just actually did it perfectly. Someone said, hey, I don't want to buy houses with red doors. Got it. Why? Tell me more, right? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, great. Well, where did you hear that? Right? So you've asked multiple questions trying to get to the bottom of what she's really thinking, which is really the whole process, because you can't help her until you really understand what the problem is, right? And so more times than not, we try to solve it before we really understand it. And then it leaves them feeling like they weren't heard, and it leaves us frustrated. And that's why people hate lead gen, right? So we're going to kind of fix that a little bit. So it's a great segue. We're going to do a little bit of role play here. So this is the script we're going to use. So we're going to work on expireds today. It doesn't really matter. I know that most of you aren't going to be calling expired, so we could have used the sphere one, but we're just going to use this script because the beginning of the script changes. So depending on whether you're calling the sphere or a FISBO or an expired or your cousin Sally or your friend from Facebook, the beginning of the script is different. But everything else after that is almost all the same. You're still trying to understand their problem, understand how they see the world, understand what their plan is, and then offer them a better solution. It's what we do with every single person, right? So Jack and I are going to try this, and then I'm just going to have a couple brave souls kind of go through this with us, okay? So we're going to do this script, then we're going to ask some motivation questions, some ability questions, and some willingness questions, right? So a motivation question, what made you decide to sell, right? What would you do if you received an offer on your home? If you could get it sold now, would you sell it, right? One of the ones we use all the time is, if I could bring you a full priced offer from a qualified buyer, would you consider it, right? So that's a motivation question, finding out if they're motivated, right? Ability questions, would you be able to move in the next 30 to 60 days? Are you the only decision maker? And then willingness questions. So these are different kind of questions that we can ask after we all we're doing with all of these questions is uncovering what the issue is, what's holding them back, what do they need. So all of these questions, don't mean to overcomplicate it, all of it is these are just shovels. And we're just digging, trying to find out what's really going on. Because most people no one does that, right? Like, hey, Dana, do you want to go get lunch tomorrow? Ooh, I'm busy, right? That's a surface answer, right? what's really like, maybe Dana is, maybe she is busy, but more often than not, the first answer you get is a surface answer. It's just what we use to protect ourselves from salesmen, right? So we want to dig and see what's going on, and that's what the questions are for. Does that make sense? Sakai, does that make sense to you? Cool. So we're going to do this script, and then we're going to ask some questions. We're going to role play that out. Just a couple of you today, because we're running out of time. This goes fast, Dana. I thought an hour would take a long time, but it goes really fast. Okay, so I'm just going to do this with Jack right now, and I'm going to give Jack the business. Okay, I promise I will not give any of you guys the business, but I'm going to give Jack the business because he's a pro. Okay, all right. So Jack's going to be the agent that's calling. I'm going to be we probably should just say what an expired is, right? So not everybody. So a property, when it goes on the market, an agent is representing that seller, and if the property doesn't sell, that 6 months, 3 months, however long the contract is, eventually that contract expires. When that contract expires, it actually becomes public knowledge, and you can now call those people who tried to sell their house and failed and ask them if they need your help selling their house, right? So it's kind of a captive audience. They definitely still need to sell their house for the most part, and so it's a great set of people to call. Okay, so I'm going to be one of those people that is selling their house, and Jack's going to be the agent giving me a call. All right, do you guys want to? We're just going to see how this goes, and you kind of see how Jack always tries to get on the same side of the table with me, and is always asking and digging questions until we get there. So just kind of give you an example of this is what a role play looks like. And so we're going to do a lot of this, but this is what we did to get ready and get better. Okay. All right. Jack, fire away.
All right. It's been a couple months, but let's do it. Hey, Robin, this is Jack with Keller Williams. I saw your home at 123 Main Street just came off the market the other day. Just curious to see if that had already sold, or is that still available?
Yeah, did not sell.
Got it. Okay. And were you still interested in selling that property there?
Maybe.
Got it. Understood. I mean, with that being said, if we could bring a full priced offer, is that something you would consider? I saw that was listed at about 270.
You have someone who's going to buy it for 270?
We definitely have a lot of buyers in the area, and it for sure piqued my interest when I saw it going off the market. It does look like a great property.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it looks like you did a lot of work to it. So I mean, is a full price offer something you're still considering, or are you planning on keeping that off the market for a while?
No, I still want to sell.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so I mean, with that being said, 270 definitely looks like a fair price, and I think we have some great buyers that could be interested. Why do you think that maybe didn't sell, Robin?
A terrible agent.
Is that right? What happened?
I just put a sign in the front yard. I never saw him again. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's kind of unfortunate. We do hear that a lot, where they put a sign in the yard and just pray and it sells. Did it about feel that way? Your agent just wasn't doing too much, just had that sign, and maybe was just praying that it got off the market.
Yes.
Sure. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, again, I definitely hear that, and it for sure sounds frustrating. I mean, it's been on the market for about 180 days, and again, it looks like it's fair price, and you did a lot of work to it. So, I mean, if we were able to show you a way that we can get that sold within the next 30 to 60 days, is that something that you would be interested in hearing more about, or how are your thoughts on potentially moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, if you could do that, that'd be great. I'm trying to get to Texas to be with my family, and still stuck here in Philly with his house.
Oh, got it. Yeah, so that's really the only thing that's keeping you in PA right now, and from moving from Texas.
Yep, the only thing.
All right. And would you say you wanted to move like as soon as possible? Is that kind of your idea?
Yesterday. I would like to move yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, we would love to be here for you, Robin, and especially, giving you an easy process from selling this property and getting you on to see your family in Texas. And something we would love to do is, have maybe a 30-minute conversation where we can further take a look at your property, kind of see what could have went wrong, and talk a bit more in depth about what your agent did and didn't do, and what wish he did. And then we can kind of go along the process of what it's going to take to sell in this market, and all the steps to get there, especially with you moving to Texas. You think you might have about 20 or so minutes in the next couple of days to get something started?
You got me. All right, everybody give Jack a round of applause.
It's been a bit. I'm switching my lead sources, so in a couple months.
Well, thank you, Jack. I think that's a good example of, can you mute for me, Jack? Jack and I are in the same room. This is a little awkward, but I think it's always hard, right? But you just saw this question. I kept trying to I'm giving them nothing, right? Yeah, maybe, yes, kinda. Just kept asking, right? Until he got to some motivation, right? Now I want to move to, and that's like once someone opens up and says, hey, I want to move to Texas, I want to be with my family. Now you understand them in a real way, right? Now you're having a real conversation. Everything before that was surface. So really good job, Jack, but that's kind of really what it is. What it is that we do is it doesn't matter who we're talking to. We really want to understand the way that they see the world, right? Like, why didn't your home sell? What's important to you? How can we get you what's important to you, right? So Jack did a really good job. But it doesn't really matter kind of where you're looking. The key is to really understand your potential client and then offer them a better solution, which Jack was able to do. So who wants to be brave and be the agent? I promise I will be very gentle. No problem, Devin. Who wants to be brave?
This is going to move you closer to closing a deal, by the way.
100%. The person who volunteers here is going to get the most out of it today. That's for sure.
I'm up for the challenge.
Yes, I love it. All right. So I'm going to be a home seller, okay? And you're going to read. This is the beginning of the script. You're going to do this. Then I'm going to give you an answer, and I just want you to ask me a question. And I will, once you finish this, I'll move you on to this next screen so you can read the ability questions. Okay? All right. All right, go ahead. I'm ready.
All right. Hi, Jack. This is Jakai Johnson calling with Keller Williams. I saw your property at 123 Main Street came off the market the other day. Has that already sold, or is it still available?
Well, I'm glad you called. Yeah, no, it's still available. It didn't sell, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, what made you decide to sell?
Oh, yeah, I was my daughter is graduating from high school, and honestly, we don't need this big old house anymore, and so we're just trying to get something smaller, move maybe closer to the city. I like walking around the parks, so I'm just trying to get out of this big house in the suburbs, and I don't want to mow the lawn ever again.
I can definitely understand that. I hate mowing the lawn. And congratulations to your daughter for graduating as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem at all, man. So what if you had received an offer on your home?
Well, if I'd received an offer on my home, I'd be at a coffee shop in Fittler Square right now, but I'm not, Jakai, I'm not.
Oh man, well, I definitely understand the importance of coffee. I was a supervisor at Starbucks for about 4 years, so I'm big on coffee still. If you
Yes,
could get,
I love coffee.
oh yeah, if you can get it sold now, would you?
Yeah, Yeah, no reason. I would love to sell, right? We just couldn't get it done. But yeah, I'd love to sell.
Okay. Well, how about this? Can you sell and get moved in the next 30 to 60 days?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be tight, but we could do it. We could do it.
Okay.
I'll call the movers tomorrow.
Oh, perfect. And then for your home too, because I know that you said you're trying to move, are you the only decision maker?
I'm not. I'm probably the minority decision maker. My wife makes all the decisions.
Okay.
Don't tell her I told you that, but that's really how it goes.
Stays between us, man. All right. Well, if I could show you how we can guarantee your home will sell, would that be worth your time?
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Okay, perfect. If we can get you what you want, would you be willing to meet with me for about 15 to 20 minutes within the next few days so we can kind of, come up with a game plan?
I'm in. When can you meet?
Perfect. So today's Monday. How about what's your availability like during the week? Do you have any any obligations during the day, or would we be able to meet at maybe Wednesday at 2 p.m.?
My wife doesn't get off of work until 5. Can you meet me after 5?
Oh yeah, man, I'm working around you guys' schedule. We can definitely meet after 5.
Great. Well, you just got an appointment, Kai. Very nicely done. Wow, very nice. Very good. So yeah, well, I hope all of your people that you call are that easy, right? That would be great. But so that's it, right? That's what it is. And so we're going to kind of pick out different situations, different kind of leads, different kind of lead sources. And we're going to kind of work on how to work through this process. We're going to work on specific objection handlers for things that you guys experience quite frequently. And that's kind of what we're going to do week by week. And I know Jack and I are really excited to work with you guys. And hopefully that's something that'll be interesting and useful for you guys as you're trying to move forward in your careers.
So you guys should put on your time block on your calendars Monday from 12 to 1 to be here on Lead Gen. So that way you guys can grow your skill sets, you can practice, you can always feel free to come with questions. Hey, I just had this situation. Can we talk through this? Can we practice this? We are here to kind of help you guys grow and become better, feel more confident, so that you guys are going to kick butt when you guys are making your phone calls. Is there any questions that you guys have?
I had a question. So when calling people you're close to, friends, maybe people you haven't spoken to in a while that you've known for a long time, I don't really have an issue, speaking on the phone or talking to people. But the one thing that's made me feel a little uncomfortable is maybe calling people I know and not giving them the sense that it's a sales call. I mean, I start off the conversation normally and all that, and we get into what I'm doing these days for work. But do you guys have any tips as far as trying to drum up business from friends and family, people you know, in a natural way?
Great question. It can be hard and kind of uncomfortable to kind of ask for the business, right? Is that kind of what you're feeling, Chris?
Yeah, we're just trying to give someone that you have a personal relationship the impression that you're trying to you're not just trying to call them to use them.
Yeah, authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So let's do a quick role play, you and I.
Okay.
You be yourself, and you're calling me, Dana, to just check and say hi, and we haven't spoken in a while. Ring, ring. Hello.
Hey, Dana, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
Doing well. It's great to talk to you. We haven't spoken in a while.
You too. What's new?
not much. Things are relatively the same. Living here these days, doing that. I saw that this recently happened in your life, and blah blah blah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What are you doing for? How's the family? All that. Get into work. Mention that I recently went into real estate. Things are going well.
So right there, you recently got into real estate, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking to help more people. And I just wanted to share that I can help you if you want to know what's going on in the market. Anyone that's thinking about looking for a new place to rent. Maybe you know someone that would like to buy a home in the next year, or maybe you know somebody that isn't happy with where they're currently living. Maybe they want to change neighborhoods or need a different size house. Could I be a resource for you and anybody you might know that wants help with real estate?
Okay.
That's how I like to phrase it.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you know like demographics, right? So somebody is younger and you know that they're renting. It's like, hey, do you like your landlord, right? Are you having any issues with COVID? Do you need a bigger place, right? Hey, I don't know if you're aware, but I can actually help anybody and be a resource for you if you're thinking about moving and want a new rental. By the way, my services are free to all of my clients because actually the landlords pay for my services. All that I ask is that you'll be committed to me because I'm going to have to do all the footwork. I'm going to have to do all the research, set up all the showings, write the leases, review the leases, so I would love to help you guys out. Just need to send you over some paperwork, that says that you're working with me, that I represent you as your realtor. But the best part is you don't have to pay any money out of pocket to utilize my services. Huge aha. So much of the public has no clue how we get paid. And by sharing that, somebody might be more willing to work with you.
Okay. So you can't really get around, sales aspects to a certain degree. You have to be relatively.
Well, that's why I like to use the term resource.
Okay, right.
How can I be a resource to you? Do you need a handyman? Do you need a babysitter? I know a lot of people in my business, I'm running around in real estate, working with a lot of clients, helping them out, trying to make connections. Or sometimes I will make my lead gen around finding more resources for clients. Hey, Chris, I'm calling you today because I have a client that is closing on their new house and we need a moving company. I remembered that you moved last year and I wanted to find out, who did you use and did you like them? And then it's just kind of like this unconscious trigger, like Dana's calling me not for sales, for almost like a referral. I want to tell her about this moving company. Oh, and it reminded me, Dana does real estate. She's, looking for other great resources. And then I can follow it up like, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing, that one. I'm going to give them a call. By the way, are there any referrals that you need? Be like, oh, well, actually, we're thinking about redoing our kitchen and I could really use a new electrician. Oh, I got a great one. I'm going to connect you and text you with Mark. He just did electrical work for my other, friend and client. He's awesome. Feel free to drop my name. If there's anything else you need, know I'm a resource. I'm always here for you. Okay. That's just kind of like another like. So it doesn't have to be sales. It could be asking for referrals, like not like a sale, right? But like an electrician, a plumber, who did you use kind of thing.
Yeah, that's like exactly the kind of stuff I'm looking for. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you found it helpful. Anyone else?
Great, Dana. And
Robin,
Christopher,
Jack, anything else you guys want to add?
well, I just wanted to piggyback on yours. I know that Jack and I are a little bit backwards. We actually find the calls to our people we're closest to be the hardest, right? Like I'd rather call a stranger than you know, a guy that I worked with 2 years ago that I like. If I mess it up with him, then like I'm gonna feel funny. If I mess it up with a stranger, I don't care. I can hang up the phone, right? So I get that, but I think Dana, you hit the nail on the head, right? If you're always coming from service, right? Like you're calling to help them, right? And maybe it has nothing to do with real estate, right? But it's like I noticed I noticed that you were in South Philly, and I remember you didn't like that landlord. You know, if you want to, I know that we remember we went to that party, we saw that building that had really cool apartments. You know, we can go see those anytime you want. Just let me know. And just leave it at that, right? Like, it's just kind of cool. Like, we have a cool job. We have all the keys. It's like, it's cool, right? So I think like there's a lot of ways that we can, that we can provide value without being like, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell real estate? Because that's just, right? But I think like the conversations naturally come up when you're coming from a place of service. So cool. That was great, Dana.
Yeah, I've even found, I tell friends and family, right? Like, even if you want to move to California or Florida or Maine, like, it doesn't matter. I can still help you. I can make sure that you have a really great realtor in those areas. I have a huge network. And guess what? I can still prep you so that you're prepared for the process, right? You're still going to have to write an offer. You're still going to have to go through a home inspection. If you're getting a mortgage, you're still going to have to go through an appraisal. You're still going to have to pack and move, right? That's standard no matter where you go. So if I can prepare you and tell you this is what you can expect, that's still useful to you, correct? So don't think that if someone doesn't want to buy in Philadelphia and doesn't fit in this little box, that you can't help them. Chances are you're going to be able to help them a whole lot more than you think. Anyone have anything else to add before we wrap up? We know we've gone over a little bit today, but I think that's because we were so excited to hang out with you guys and get to know you guys. Well, Robin and Jack, thank you so much for kicking this off. We are so excited. Next week, we're definitely going to get more into the one-on-one breakout room so you guys can practice. So we hope that you will come and join us next week, Monday at 12 o'clock. We'll send out a new Zoom link so that way you guys can all be a part of it. But we hope you have a kick-ass day. We hope you could take away some tips today for when you're making your calls, and know that myself and Robin and Jack, we're here for you. We're a resource. So if you want to reach out to us, Jack and Robin, would you mind just dropping your information in the chat box? That way, if anyone does have a question, they can reach out to you.
Not a problem. And just so you know too, from here on out, really we're going to be giving a lot more tactical stuff that you can actually use. So today was a bunch of talking and a bunch of theory, but really we're going to spend a lot more time really just getting our hands dirty and making mistakes and laughing at each other. It'll be good fun.
I love it. I think we're going to start that way. Everyone's going to log on and we're just going to jump right into it. So that way you guys can get into it, get juicy.
Yep.
All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. I'm going to stay on for one more minute. So that way, if you need to write down anyone's name or email, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you all next week.
Thank you.